The sands of the Valley of the Kings stirred, not from the wind but from something ancient waking up. Deep inside the Great Pyramid, Khufu's sarcophagus glowed with amazing energy. The stone lid slid open and a cloth-wrapped hand reached out. A figure sat up, dust and magic swirling around them. The pharaohs were waking up. All across the tombs, Egypt's kings and queens returned. Ramses the Great, Hatshepsut, Akhenaten. They weren't ghosts or memories, but real people. Brought back to life, their minds perfectly clear. The gods had kept their promise. Forever was here, not just in the afterlife. The world didn't notice at first. Satellites picked up strange energy signals. The ground shook in Luxor and Giza. Archaeologists reported ancient writings glowing and tightly sealed doors opening on their own. Locals whispered about golden figures walking from the desert, speaking a language no one knew anymore. People called it a rumor, but the evidence became too strong to ignore. Something impossible was happening all along the Nile. Picture this: a group of experts in Egypt working late suddenly meet Thutmose III himself. He stands before them, not a mummy, but a living ruler. He demands his scribes, his army leaders, and his kingdom. The scientists are stunned, face to face with a man who built a huge empire before Rome even existed. The past had stepped into the present, alive and in charge. World history was about to change. The pharaohs appeared, not as old artifacts, but as rulers ready to take back their power. The ancient world and the new world crashed together in an amazing moment. Egypt's dead had come back to life, and nothing would ever be the same. The Nile flowed as it always had, but now its banks were filled with legends brought back to life. The world would soon realize, history was no longer just the past. What was impossible had become real. The pharaoh's return wasn't a made-up story, but a new beginning. The living past wanted to shape the future. The Valley of the Kings had woken up, and the world would not sleep peacefully again. The age of the pharaohs had begun anew. The pharaohs were like living libraries, each one holding all the knowledge from their time. Khufu shared the secrets of the pyramids, Hatshepsut about ancient trade routes, and Imhotep about forgotten medicines. Together they formed a group of thinkers unlike any other in history. They passed their wisdom to modern writers. Computers took the place of papyrus scrolls, star maps, advanced surgeries, and practical alchemy all flowed freely. It was as if 1,000 lost libraries had been found overnight. Schools were in an uproar. History books became old news. This was more than just old knowledge. It was a whole new way of thinking. The pharaohs planned for hundreds of years, not just a few, so they saw things others missed. They used the past to build the future, making sure not to repeat old mistakes. The greatest library wasn't made of books, but of minds. Imagine a council, Ramesses II discussing war plans, Akhenaten debating ideas about life, Cleopatra talking about speaking with other countries. Each one brought their own special skills, and they swapped ideas and mixed them up. Their living wisdom became the driving force for Egypt's new golden age. They weren't just old things, they were builders of a future no one could have dreamed of. The world watched as Egypt's council shaped a new time. Knowledge became power, and Egypt had both. The Council of Pharaohs was the most important thing in the world. The past was alive, and it was building tomorrow. Egypt's golden age had just begun. After their ancient wisdom was written down, the pharaohs started looking at modern science. They saw technology as a new kind of magic they needed to learn. Soon they learned physics, chemistry, and biology. Egypt became a place where scientists from all over the world came to work. They made big medical discoveries, new medicines from desert plants, much better surgeries, and people lived longer. The secret to coming back to life became the most important medical goal. Then they changed how we get energy, using the pyramids as power plants and solar farms inspired by their sun worship. Cities blended old designs with new technology. Ancient traditions and modern tech came together, like using hieroglyphs as computer symbols, and Imhotep's old ways of finding diseases, but in modern scanning machines. Science became something very special, like religion. Labs were like temples, and research was a duty. This mix of old and new led to amazing new ideas driven by a clear purpose and their long history. Egypt's progress wasn't just smart, it was also very meaningful. The world admired a country where the past and future moved forward together. The pharaoh's dream made Egypt a shining example of new science and culture. Their lasting impact wasn't just about surviving, but about a complete change. The future was built on strong past foundations. Egypt led the world into a new age of wonder. While the world was in chaos, Egypt became a safe and steady place. The throne was never empty, there were no fights over who would rule next. Ramesses the Great celebrated his 500th year as ruler. This steady rule allowed for huge projects that took many years and a stable society. Egypt's economy boomed, its money and technology became what everyone used. The pharaohs planned for the future when managing resources, making sure everyone was well off. Their power was complete, decisions were made fast, and progress never stopped. No slow processes, no stopping. If the pharaoh said it, it meant it would be done. Egypt moved forward while other nations fell behind. But this speed came with a cost. No democracy, no one could object. The people were well off, but they weren't free. They were subjects, not citizens, led by rulers who lived forever. The pharaohs were kind, but their power was absolute. Egypt was the steady center of the world, stable, strong, and unchanging. The price for this perfect place was following orders. As Egypt grew stronger, the world watched, full of envy and fear. Travelers came back with stories of clean cities, amazing medicine, and rulers who seemed to live forever. At first, people thought these were just tall tales, but soon, the truth became clear. Egypt was like a civilization from the future, but living now. Messengers and kings traveled to the Nile, looking for knowledge and friends. The pharaohs traded medicine and new ideas for goods and gifts. Egypt didn't conquer with armies, but with its power and money. Egyptian culture became what everyone wanted: the art, the buildings, even the way they talked. Rulers in other places wished they had the pharaoh's unlimited power. The world started to change to be more like Egypt. The quality of things was measured by Egyptian rules. This made a big difference. Egypt, a shining example of order, and everyone else trying hard to keep up. Some saw the pharaohs as heroes and others as bad rulers. The world was in awe, but not everyone trusted Egypt. Egypt's power was complete, and its secrets were kept very safe. Life in Egypt was perfect. No one was poor, no one was hungry, and no one was sick. The government took care of everything people needed. The cities were safe and beautiful. The pharaoh's smart ideas solved humanity's biggest problems. But this perfect place had invisible walls. No voting, no complaining, only what the government allowed. Happiness was controlled and life was carefully planned. After a while, having no challenges made people less determined. New ideas only came from the top. Natural cleverness disappeared. People just received things. They didn't really do anything for themselves. Some felt that something important was missing, the chance to make mistakes, to choose and to take risks. A quiet movement began, wondering if a perfect life with no choices was truly living at all. The fancy cage was beautiful, but it was still a cage. Perfection came with a price: losing your freedom. By 2025, Cairo had become Thebes once again, a city where the grandeur of the past met the wonders of the future. Tall obelisks glowed with solar panels and moving hieroglyphs. Maglev boats floated quietly on the Nile River. The pyramids powered the world. Buildings made of self-healing stone lined grand streets, with statues of immortal rulers everywhere. Public places were like open temples for learning and art. The city was carefully planned, with clean air from lotus-shaped towers. Daily life was run by smart computers that knew what everyone needed, even before they did. Everything was easy and worked well. Nobody ever felt like they needed anything. But a strange quiet was everywhere. No mess, no problems, just quiet. The city was a perfect example of control, showing how much the pharaohs had achieved. But by making the world too perfect, they made people's spirits too quiet. The city was perfect, but its people were no longer wild or free. Being immortal was both a gift and a heavy burden for the pharaohs. They saw many generations come and go, and slowly they grew apart from regular people. They became wiser, but they also felt more distant. They cared for their people, but they didn't share the same life or feelings. After hundreds of years, some pharaohs got tired. Creating new things wasn't fun anymore, and leading became just a routine. The never-ending cycle made them bored and uncaring, putting their whole empire at risk from the inside. A tired god is a careless god. Their kingdom stayed strong only if its leaders were interested and involved. Now, their biggest problem wasn't ruling the world, but finding a reason to keep going forever. The weight of eternal life became the heaviest crown they wore. The real challenge wasn't having power, but having the will to keep caring. Humanity, under the immortal pharaohs, had reached perfection. No wars, no poverty, no suffering. But is this true success, or just a halt to progress? The human spirit grows stronger through challenges. Our best art and strength come from facing tough times. In a world without difficulties, can we truly grow? The Pharaohs gave them paradise in exchange for their freedom. Now their children wonder what lies beyond the garden walls. Is progress about getting rid of all struggles, or keeping the freedom to ask questions and put in effort? Do you choose complete safety, or the wild, imperfect freedom of being human?